We got a lot in common. We laugh, we cry, we have lots of options. But there's healing when we just start talking. There's healing when we just start talking. Don't be afraid. Start off your day with the Leslie T. Marshall Experience.
Welcome to another episode of the Leslie T. Marshall Experience. Today, we are on some of my favorite subjects: love, relationships, and marriage. And I'm here today with one of my very favorite couples, Carlton and Cheryl Bino, and their little fella, Christian. How are you, Christian? Good. It's so good to have you. Well, since we're on the topic of love and relationships, I was doing a little research, and I found that since the 21st century, the U.S. marriage rate has declined. There used to be 8 marriages per thousand back in the days. But since 2019, it has gone down to 6. I believe in marriage, I believe in love and all of that good stuff. But we're in a generation where a lot of people feel, why buy the cow if the milk is free? So I'm going to talk to a successful couple today, and I call them successful not only because they've been together for some years, and I'll let them tell you, but I call them successful because we know marriage is not easy, but they're still in it and they're still pushing through. So that means y'all can never break up. You know that, right? So I want you guys to tell the people, how long have you been married?
It'll be 10 years this month, February.
Oh, party in the islands. So we'll start with you, ma'am. Cheryl, what was your first impression of this gentleman when you met him?
I thought he was very handsome. Like, as he was walking up, I liked his physique. So he always dresses. So he takes pride in how he looks when he walks out.
I know that's right, brother. Pleasing on the eye is what it sounds like
yes,
to me.
Definitely.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. So, what was your first impression of Cheryl when you first met her, sir?
To be very honest.
Yes.
Her legs.
Oh, you better get! Come on now, her legs.
She had some long, model-looking legs, and that's what I saw. She had a little tights on, with little boots on, and that was my first impression.
So Cheryl knows how to dress for a date. I might need to get some tips from her. Okay, good. Excellent. I love it. So you guys had a date. Do you mind telling us how you guys met?
Tell.
I don't mind telling it. We actually met on eHarmony, believe it or not.
Nice.
So that was interesting because it was the first day that I had gone on eHarmony and the last day that he was closing his account because he didn't meet anyone. So that was interesting, and we just sparked up a conversation and got to know each other. And 11 years and 3 months later, we're here.
And I'm here with the lovely couple today, the Gosses, Drayton and Simone. Let's give it up. Thank you so much for joining us.
Cheers.
Cheers to love, life, and the Leslie T. Marshall Experience. So, you guys are so adorable. I love you. Is this a part of your line, Miss Simone?
This is. We don't match a little bit today.
Well, I do have one.
Right.
It says, mine says, but I let her think she's right.
Yeah. So this is the Bayfits collection edition. Mine is just. It's the Bayfits collection edition.
Well, I love it because a lot of women need to remember that I am the prize.
Right.
I love it. So we're going to get this started. Of course, inquiring minds would like to know, how long did you guys know each other before you got married?
Oh man. Well, I want to say, what was it? Oh God.
You don't want to hear my version.
First of all, I felt like we have been together total for almost 20 years. Wow. I want to say like 5 years.
That we knew each other before we got together?
Oh, before we got together.
Right.
Oh.
No, we
No, I
no.
thought you know what I'm thinking
See?
before we
See
got
how the story
engaged
changes?
because that was a whole nother
Right.
subject.
Okay, go
You
ahead.
get
But-
the shade, you get the shade already, right?
No shade in the beginning.
We didn't know each other. We worked together
Okay.
in the same building for the same company, but we didn't know each other. He would just when we would pass each other by, he would say little slick comments or whatever. But
She was dubbing me. How do a lot of young people say? Dubbing me.
She was what?
They want a part of me.
So
That's
who
not
stepped to who first?
Well, he said his little comments, and then one day I saw him, and I told my best friend, I said, "Oh my God, make sure you give him my number," and she did, and the rest is history.
Do I gotta tell a real story?
That is not the real story. He has this. Let me tell you something. He makes up this story, and he concocts a story in his head, and he tells it all the
A
time.
multiple story?
He even told the same story that he's about to tell you at our wedding.
So,
I wanna hear this
So
story.
basically, you're saying the story's been consistent.
Yep, just
So,
because you remember the
what
story
happened was-
doesn't mean it's true.
So like she said, I was throwing little things at her. Little, what's up? When we gonna go out? You look nice today. Little things like that. Little jabs.
Right.
So she would smile. Sometimes she wouldn't even smile. So I was like, "Alright, okay." I'm not even gonna say. Like the last time she kind of like didn't even. I don't know if she's having a bad day. She kind of was a little rude. I was like, I ain't speaking to her no more. So I seen like, again, we worked on the same block. I drove in that day, and I was looking good that day. I got a haircut. Mind you, I was 30 pounds,
Oh, okay.
40 pounds, 50 pounds ago.
Okay.
So good haircut. Guys, when we get our haircut, we feel good. I saw her, so I turned the music up. I'm driving.
Showing off.
Cars clean, turn the music up, put the window down. And I made sure she saw me. But I looked through, I never said nothing to her, but I just made sure she saw me.
Right.
Next thing I know, her friend was like, my friend wants your number.
That is
The
def-
music did it.
It was the car, everything. She
really?
never saw me in the car.
That's not true at all. I mean, I knew he had a good job. We worked for the same company. So
Whatever.
what is he talking about? This story he tells it all the time. It's completely false. But
I didn't
whatever.
see you. I didn't see you. You didn't see me in the car?
Yep, you actually spoke. You actually said something.
I didn't speak.
You definitely did. I remember you did.
I didn't speak to you.
So
You
Maroc,
did.
you guys work together. Maroc, your nickname. Forgive me if I go
That's
there.
okay, that's okay.
So Drayton, right?
Yes.
I'm sure there was other beautiful women in the building, right? What made you choose this beautiful face? What stood out to let you say, you know what, I want to talk to her. That's the one I want to have some conversation with.
It was weird because she had a mean look. She had a mean look to her.
Okay.
Remind me like of the Brownsville girls I used to date. It was like a mean look. But what really got me is when she smiled.
Okay.
She always had a beautiful smile. I was like, yo, I like her. It was a smile. See, there you go.
I'm going to keep it on you really quick, and then I'm going to come back to my
Listen,
sister.
go
How
ahead.
did you know she was the one, right, for marriage? How did you know she was the one that you wanted to be with for the rest of your life?
When a real good friend of mine, we would go to the same club like every Saturday. Or,
Right.
Well, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We would go. And then we're in there, and I'm like, I would rather be home with her doing nothing. And that's how I knew. You know what I'm saying? That's
How did you know that he was the one?
So I judge people by the things that they do for other people, the way that they treat other people, the way that they act, the way that they move. And he has a daughter, an older daughter, and his willing to fight for his older daughter, like, I mean, going to court, like just doing everything that he could to like be in her life and be present in her life. To me, I thought that was everything because my older son, his father was never around.
Right.
And so I didn't have that. To see a black man
Yes.
be like that, it reminded me of my dad.
Right.
So it was like, okay, I could see myself marrying him.
I love it, and that does stand out because I was a single mother, and going through that same experience when the children's father do not deal with them is heartbreaking to watch. So then when you do see someone that is just father-like, you're like, oh, what a gem. Where did he get that from? Now, did you have great examples of fathers in your life?
I don't know. I'm competitive. So, like, when my father wasn't around for me, I'm like, my whole goal in life was to be better than my father. That's all I wanted to accomplish. So, that was it. I think I won. I think I won that matchup. But That's all I ever wanted to be. Like, I never wanted to leave a kid out there. You know, is my dad coming to get me Friday? Is he coming this weekend? I never wanted to do that. So that was always my goal.
That's so funny that I know that's a cliche. People say it all the time, but I'm one of those kids, you know, like, is my dad coming?
Yeah,
And it's a hurtful feeling.
And your mother knows that they're not coming. They just don't want to break your heart.
Yes.
And you sitting on the, I
On the
sit on
stoop.
the porch.
I was on the stoop. I'm like,
Same thing on
I
the
know my
stoop.
father's coming
I'm
tonight.
looking up the block.
Hello?
Not coming.
You
in.
know,
I've been
shout
there.
out. I had a great, you know, stepfather, but at the time, you know, it was like as a little girl, that's something that pain, I don't know, I think it goes down, but it's a feeling like if you're in a park or you're somewhere watching another man and his child, and then when you grow up, you realize it had nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
but unfortunately, and I know another great guy that we have in common that is the same way. So that's a wonderful thing. So I grew up believing that marriage was based on love and chemistry and you're so sweet, I love you, I'm so attracted to you, right? But it has come to my attention and I'm learning from it. I'm not putting it down, I'm not dissing it. There has to be other factors in a marriage besides love. That's not a fairy tale because I believe that love plays an important part. But I'm seeing and I'm hearing that people are marrying for more other reasons than love. Blew me away, but it is what it is. What are some of the other things that's important to a couple before they get married that should be included, would you say?
Well, when getting to know someone, definitely just knowing their beliefs, their values, their credit score. I'm teasing, but it's important to discuss finances because that does come up, of course, in a marriage. So it's important to.
Definitely. That's one of the causes that a lot of people, you know, has torn a marriage up. So was he everything he said on his profile, and were you everything, or did somebody fabricate?
No, he was who he said he was. I definitely was impressed by him, especially in the first
She
date.
lying right now?
I was because he has a heart for kids. He
That's true.
volunteers,
That's all true.
and I was attracted to that because I love children as well. So that was something I really value about him.
She tried to tell me that I was not my height that I put in my profile. I did say that.
I did say that.
I was like, I'm all 6'2". I don't know what you're talking about.
So I know that everything in marriage is not peachy. There's difficulties, there's good days, and there's bad days. What is the glue, and I hope both of you will answer that, keeps you together when the difficult times come?
For me, it's the friendship. It's the friendship because, you know, you're going to argue. And sometimes you're going to say hurtful things and he's going to say hurtful things, you know, just in the heat of the moment or whatever. But that friendship always, you know, draws us back together. Even when we were dating, you would get into an argument or whatever. And then when we would see each other after we've just yelled and screamed at each other, whatever, over the phone, we start smiling, you know. So that friendship is what is the glue.
Barack, before you answer, so I speak with a lot of couples on and off camera, and I've heard people say that the friendship was better once the marriage started. How was the friendship before? Was the friendship about the same? I mean, because every year we grow. You're not the same person he met 20 years ago. She's not the same person. You know, we all change and we evolve. So your friendship, as it got better, is that when you caught your groove of the marriage?
It's been consistent.
It's been consistent.
We I don't think we slacked off. I think if anything we got better.
Right.
We got better. But like she said, yeah, it's definitely the friendship. And one thing, even in the heat of the moment, we never disrespect each other. We know everything about each other.
I love it.
None of that stuff comes up.
Yeah.
You know, I've never called out her name.
Right.
Never in my life, you know, hit her, anything like that.
Smart.
So definitely. So we don't, you know, we don't have that. So anytime we say anything, so we know it's coming from a genuine place. We're not trying to hurt each other's feelings. We're just trying to get our point across the best way we can.
So, you know, you guys look like a wise couple, but even wise people fall and make some, you know, mistakes. You both are good looking. So there's handsome men out there. There's beautiful girls out there. Well, Lord, I don't want to say that. But there's beautiful girls. How do you guys, you know, you're still young. You guys are not old. How do you, you know, get off the fanfare? You both are popular, you know, and I know that, you know, this is a day of everybody's in your inbox. How do you guys handle that?
I know for me, she taught me. I wasn't always great with it. I wasn't, but one day, before we were married, I messed up, and she told me, she was like,
Don't let me cut you. No, I'm just joking.
I'm sure that's what she was thinking.
That too.
But she was like, if you just stop for 1 minute and think, is it worth it? And ever since then, that's how I just think, is it worth it? Like, 'cause we all have temptations, and I'm like, not the same. Is it worth? And now, especially that we're married, it's a business now.
Yes.
It's not worth it. No, nothing out there is worth splitting everything. I don't know if it's worth it, but yeah, she taught me that.
Which brings me to another question, Cheryl. I'm pretty sure we all know nothing in life is easy. Nothing. No matter how picture perfect people make it look on Instagram, Facebook, and put a picture, a facade. If we pull the curtain back, we will all agree that there are some days, even in the most perfect looking household, there are days a husband does not want to speak to his wife, a wife does not want to speak to her husband, want to knock each other out, but they don't want to call the cops. No, I'm just joking. I'm running from the cops. No. What do you do? What do you do on that day when you don't want to speak, when he gets on your last nerve? How do you handle it?
Well, just definitely try to just separate yourself. Like, just give yourself some time to just not act out on, like, I guess, being upset or the things that you really don't want to say that come out. So just definitely giving yourself time to just give yourself space apart, so that, when you talk to each other, that you'll be able to rectify whatever.
Have you seen growth from when you first started till now? Have you seen growth, or it's always been this way? Has it taken a time to you to get there?
It definitely takes time. Like, we were still learning each other. I had never lived with anybody before. I had married Carlton, a male. So
I pray apple. Thank God.
No, I have roommates, but no. So just.
No, you're right. I think for both of us, it was the same thing. Never living with someone else that you're gonna call your mate. You kind of have to learn that person's way. They have to kind of learn your ways and see what you like, see what you don't like, and you have to get over those points where people, with the things you don't like, you kind of have to get over that or find a balance in it.
I love it. That word balance is very important. So, Carlton, what is some advice if you know a single man, you in the locker room at the gym, and he decides, I'm thinking about getting married? What is some advice you would give a single man?
I would definitely say take some time to know that person before you get married. Make sure that's the person that you want to get married to. Make sure y'all, it's going to sound a little weird, but make sure y'all kind of go through some type of adversity together, because then you really know if that person has your back or if that person's going to stand by you, because adversity can really show you a person, in that moment. You really see that person and what they are.
I love it. And you, Cheryl, what would you give a single woman thinking about marriage?
Take your time to get to know the person, just to learn them and just to see what their interests are, because if you are going to spend the rest of your life with that person, you want to know his family, you want to know his friends, you want to know that it's someone you would be comfortable around.
That is a big thing, knowing each other's family too as well. Because you guys are going to spend a lot of holidays, a lot of different moments, around each other, so definitely know each other's family, so they want to.
I totally agree with you saying that go through something with someone, because I dated someone before, and how I came to the realization, besides praying, that this person, even though God gave me 1,000 red flags that I ignored, I went out of the country with them, and they were a little psycho. But I saw a little bit in the United States, but when I went out of the country, he was so psycho, my mother called the hotel, the resort, and say, "Is my daughter alive?" So, but I saw that, okay, this is it. I cannot be with this person, because you have to take yourself, I believe, out of a comfortable, a familiar element, and then it will show you, who that person really is. Love has truly been good to me. That's not true. But love is amazing, like Luther said. Listen, guys, thank you so much for watching part 1 of our love and relationship segment. Please come back for part 2, because I believe there is healing in exposure. Love isn't always going to feel good, but depending on your experience and what you can do with it, you can make it better. Please come back, watch part 2, and let's give it up to these wonderful couples, because there is healing in exposure. And if you have a story, come through. We'd love to share your story and let it be a blessing to someone else. Love has truly been good to me. Not even one sad day, or many have I had since you come my way. Yeah.